By the grace of God, Guru and my mother, I present to you the cosmic creation and evolution investigated in the great Brhadaranyk Upanishad, and the topic of the talk is
nature of the ultimate reality and the cosmic creation and evolution proceeding from that ultimate reality. Because we always wonder, what was this universe in the beginning? What was there in the beginning even before the Big Bang happened? And the Brhadaranyak Upanishad says, Nevaha kinchanatramasi. There was nothing whatsoever in the beginning. Brahmaivedamadarmasi. There was only Brahman in the beginning. And Brahman is that ultimate reality. Maitreyi Upanishad says that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is Satyam, means truth. And the Brhadaranyak Upanishad says it is Satyasya Satyam, truth of all truths. And the Rupa says that truth is only one. Ekam Sat Viprabhavavadanti. The truth is only one. Sages call it by different names. And what do they call it? Vadanti tat tattva vidah tattvam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan uchyate. They call it Brahman, Atma, Paramatma, Bhagwan, God, many names. Essentially, it is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Satyam means truth, Jnanam means pure consciousness or pure intelligence, and Anantam means infinitude. And also, it is described as Satchidananda. Ananda means love, and from love comes bliss. So it is pure, infinite, non-dual, loving consciousness. And from that, Tasmat Akasha Sambhuta. From that, Akash means space or ether, they call it. Sambhuta. Tasmat Akasha Sambhuta. Akashat Vayu, Vayor Agni, Agnair Apa, Advaya Prithvi, Prithivya Annam, Annat Purusha. Meaning, from that very Brahman, the ether was evolved. From ether came air, from air came fire, from fire came water, from water came earth, from earth came food, and from the food came the beings, and the whole universe was evolved. So the three major Upanishads, Chandogya Upanishad, Brhadaranyk Upanishad, and Maitreyi Upanishad, they talk about this cosmic evolution, and they all say these Pancha Mahabhutas, 5 elements of nature, ether, air, fire, water, and earth, they were all evolved from that very Brahman. And whole universe was differentiated into different names and forms from that one which was absolutely undifferentiated. So, if you transcend the names and forms, you straight away come to the original stuff, which is pure, infinite, non-dual consciousness. Now comes the third chapter of Brhadaranyk Upanishad. Here, the questioner and question both are important. Questioner is a young lady philosopher, a great philosopher, and her question is to Yajnavalkya, a great realized soul. And this is in the philosophical debate in King Janaka's palace. Now, Gargi, this young lady philosopher, she is trying to investigate this cosmic creation and evolution, and she is starting from the earth, which is most concrete, and then she is going to the subtler and subtler elements of this universe. So she asks, sir, yadidam sarvam apsuotam japrotam cha, if all this composed of earth is pervaded and permeated by water, then what is water pervaded by? It's why O Gargi? By air, O Gargi. Then what is air pervaded by? By antariksha lokesha, O Gargi. Antar means distance and iksh means what you can see. From here to up to heaven, what you can see is all antariksha. What is this antariksha pervaded by? And he says by the world of Gandharvas, O Gargi. Gandharvas are celestial minstrels. Here they will call him extraterrestrial musicians. So what is the world of Gandharvas pervaded by? And he says by the world of the sun and the moon and the stars and the gods. Then she says, what is the world of gods pervaded by? By the world of Viratokar. Virat, that cosmic being. Arjun got that Virat darshan. They call him Prajapati in Puranas and Upanishads. Then what she says, what is the world of Prajapati pervaded by? By the world of Hiranyagarbha, O Gargi. Hiranya means golden, Garbha means womb, golden womb of Brahman. The Rudve says, Hiranyagarbha samavartate agre. There was only Hiranyagarbha in the beginning, the golden womb of Brahman, and from that the whole universe was evolved. So, she says, what is the world of Hiranyagarbha pervaded by? And he says, oh Gargi, don't push your inquiry too far. Your mind will be blown up. So then she keeps quiet. Then another scholar gets up for questioning. His name is Uddalak. He says, sir, what is that sutra which pervades this whole universe and which holds all of us together? Sutra is a thread which holds something together. Sutra holds flowers into a garland. Sutra holds jewels into a necklace. So he's asking about that common thread which holds all of us together. And Yajnavalkya says, Vayurvaitat Sutrena. Vayu is that sutra. Prana apana, Vayu means pran Vayu. Prana apana vyana udana samana iti sarve prana. These are all the functions of the prana, names of the functions of the prana. But prana is that one divine power which holds all of us together. Out of this prana is evolved everything what you call energy or power or force. And this is the play of all that one unit energy at different levels. Psychic energy at mind level, expressing through our thoughts, reasonings and ideas with powerful energy. Then bioenergy at body level, expressing through our sensory system, our nerve currents, our actions, reactions, motions and all that. Then the physical energy at gross level, expressing through gravitation, magnetism and all that. He says that all these are the expressions of that one unique energy on different planes. The sum total of all the energies in the universe, if they resolve back into their original state, it is prana. So he says that pranirvaitat sutrena, vayurvaitat sutrena, ayam cha lokam cha param cha lokam cha sarvani bhutana sandabdhani. Prana is that divine power which holds us for this life and the next life. Prana is that life force which gives us life. Prana is that vital force which keeps us alive. And prana is that divine force which takes us to our next life, carrying our sanskaras, karmas, and knowledge and everything in subtle form. So he says, the Gita says, Vayur Gandhani Vashya. So he says that prana, that sutra, is the divine power that holds all of us together. So when Uddalak receives this profound knowledge, he is satisfied. But Gargi is not yet satisfied. So she gets up for questioning. And this is her second time. So first she asks the permission from the audience. She says, Brahmano Bhagavanto do prashno prakshami. Revered Brahmanas, I want to ask these two questions to Yajnavalkya, if you please. And they all say, the whole audience says, Rucho Gargi, ask for Gargi, we want to hear it. So now Gargi asks him, Sir, I'm going to shoot at you two questions, and they are sharp as two arrows. Dvau Bhanavantu, and please answer me those if you are a Brahmagyani, if you are a knower of Brahman. What a heroic language. And Yajnavalkya says, Rucho Gargi, ask O Gargi. And then she asks, Sir, Yad bhutam cha bhavam cha bhavishyat cha achakshate, kasmin khalu tatotam cha brutam cheti. that which is in the past, present and future, that which pervades this whole universe, that which is on the earth, in the heaven and in between, what is that pervaded by? Now she is asking about that sutra, because Yajnavalkya had told that sutra, that prana pervades the whole universe and it goes with us to our next life. So it is always there. And she is asking that prana, that divine power, what is that pervaded by? And this is very philosophical question, because with our sensory system we can perceive only the surface aspect of this universe. But there are many layers to it, many profound layers to it. As we go deeper and deeper, we find subtler and subtler elements of this universe. Even in our bodies there are many layers. They call it panchakoshas, 5 sheets. Sheet where you put the soul in, the physical sheet, then energy sheet, then psychic sheet, then intellectual sheet, and anandamaya kosha means the blissful sheet. And within those sheets, again there are many layers. Take, for example, psychic sheet. There is mind, then subconscious mind, preconscious mind, unconscious mind, superconscious mind. There are many layers. So now Gargi is going into the heart of the nature, and she is asking, what is that divine power, prana pervaded by? And Yajnavalkya says, Yat bhutam cha bhavam cha bhavim shacha chakshate akashe tat otam cha krutam jeti. That which is in, pervades the whole universe, that which is on the earth, in the heaven and in between, that is pervaded by Akash, O Gargi. Akash means unmanifested ether, O Gargi. And unmanifested ether at that time was considered material entity, very subtle material entity, filling the universe. And now they call it space. Space is within, space is without. Space is everywhere, and everything is in the space. And I remind you, this one was 4,000-5,000 years ago. And at that time, when she hears this answer, she says, Namostute, I bow down to you. You have answered my inscrutable question. Now, are you ready for my other question? And he says, Prucho Gargi. Then she says, Yat bhutam cha bhavam cha bhavishyam cha achakshate akashe tatotam cha protam chaiti kasmin khalu akashotam cha protam chaiti. What is that akash? Ether is pervaded by. Now this is also an important question, because ether or this space, it is so subtle and it interpenetrates even prana, the divine power. We want to know, is there anything subtler than that? What is behind that? We want to know. And the last word in Vedanta is that Brahman, that pure infinite consciousness, that pervades even the space. And that pure infinite consciousness not only pervades the whole universe, the space, the prana, but also it is beyond all that. That pure infinite consciousness, it is beyond time and space. It is beyond the realm of our mind, our intellect, our language. So Gargi knew the difficulty of answering this question. And so what she thought, that Yajnavalkya will fall into a trap of fallacy. A fallacy is a reasoning or an argument which jumps to conclusion without providing enough evidence. So she thought, she's asking about that absolute reality, which is incomprehensible. And for that reason, if he doesn't answer this question, he will be guilty of non-comprehension. There are 2 fallacies according to the Nyaya Shastra. One is non-comprehension, apratipatti, and the second one is contradiction, vipratipatti. So she thought, if he does not answer this question, he will be guilty of non-comprehension. Means either you don't understand the question or you don't understand the subject matter. So if he doesn't answer it, he will be guilty of non-comprehension. And if he tries to express, which is inexpressible, then he will be guilty of contradiction, because he might say something contradictory or something objectionable. Now, how Yajnavalkya is going to tackle this dilemma? He says that Etat Vaitat Aksharam O Gargi. This is that immutable reality O Gargi, which is Astulam Anam, Adirgham Araswam, Arasam, Asangam, Apranam. He is using all the negative words to describe this reality. Because he says first, it is immutable reality O Gargi, which is not Astulam means which is not gross, which is not minute, which is not long, which is not short, which is not asangam means which is not attached to anything. Aprana means which is not prana, that divine power which gives us life, but it is not prana. So we cannot describe, we cannot use the positive language for describing this immutable reality, this infinite consciousness in positive language. We cannot use it because it's not an object to say that it is like this, iti. We cannot say it because there is no second to compare with it. It is one without the second, and therefore that pure infinite consciousness is one without the second, and therefore Yajnavalkya using this language of neti, not this, not this. And this way, he is evading both the fallacies, both the charges of fallacies, by saying that he comprehends the question, he comprehends the answer, and he is not saying anything objectionable. And then he says, Etaseva aksharasya prashasane gargi. Prashasana means the rule of law. Aksharasya prashasane means that cosmic law. Surya chandramaso vidruto tishtara. Surya chandramaso. The suns and the moons. The suns and the moons are like the lamps of this universe, shining day and night for us under the supreme rule of that supreme Brahman. The suns and the moons and the stars, they are held in their position by the power of that immutable reality, O Gargi. And the rhythmic motions, very rhythmic movements of the suns and the moons and the stars and the galaxies and the rivers and the oceans and the winds are governed by that immutable reality, O Gargi. And the whole universe is organized in orderly way by the power of that immutable reality, O Gargi. And this is the majesty of that supreme Brahman. And he says, and that is Aksharam O Gargi. And Etasminnu Khalu Akshare Gargi Akashotam Chaprotam Chaiti. By that immutable reality, O Gargi, the space is pervaded by. So the idea is, by seeing the effect, we infer the cause. By seeing this, the whole universe is organized in so orderly way and it is functioning in perfect way. So we know that someone is doing that, and that one is Aksharam O Gargi. He says that is that immutable reality, O Gargi. And so when Gargi hears this high spiritual and philosophical answer, her heart gets filled with joy, and she says to him, she says to the audience, Brahmano Bhagavato, revered Brahmanas, we are honored, we are so fortunate to have the sage like Yajnavalkya here for a debate. No one can defeat him in discussions. Our salutations to him. And then she salutes him, and then she sits down. So this is the way Gargi investigates this subject of cosmic evolution. And there are some theological ideas in there, like Gandharva Lokas and all that, but they were recognized at the time. But you will see that there are philosophical, spiritual, intellectual and scientific ideas are there. And Shankara's commentary makes the gist of this subject very clear. He says the whole universe is built on an intricate plan, and these elements, what we discussed from ether to earth, they are not just arranged arbitrarily, they are arranged such a way that they are within each other and they hold each other together like a chain. And the cause is subtler than the effect. The ether is subtler than air. Air is subtler than fire. Fire is subtler than water. Water is subtler than earth. And earth is the most concrete and obvious thing that you can see. And not only that, he says the cause is more pervasive than the effect. Ether is more pervasive than air. Air is more pervasive than fire. Fire is more pervasive than water. And water is more pervasive than earth. And just because the cause is more pervasive and subtler than the effect, it holds the effect together. Otherwise, says Shankara, that it would have been like a handful of barley flour scattered all over. And the cause of all causes is that pure infinite consciousness, that pure Brahman. It is the subtlest, it is more pervasive, most pervasive, and it holds the whole universe together by its loving consciousness. Swami Sarvagatanandi says that pure infinite living consciousness that holds all of us together, that binds all of us together, not only human being, but the insects, the animals, the birds, they are bound by that living consciousness. And not only that, he says that even the material things are bound by that loving consciousness. And Shankaracharya says this is to show an aspirant that he can realize his own infinite Atman by taking up relatively external elements and eliminating it one by one, going deeper and deeper to the subtler and subtler elements until he reaches that supreme Brahman, that supreme Atman which is within himself and which is pure, infinite, loving consciousness. Now, one can analyze this subject of cosmic creation and evolution in light of both the Vedanta philosophy and physical science and see how the Vedanta can help physical science to see the end of its search for ultimate reality. According to astrophysics, this universe was not variegated in the beginning. There was only one which exploded, differentiation started to set in, different forms appeared, and we could call them by different names, and for billions of years this cosmic evolution is going on until today. So, as far as the first conclusion is concerned, it is almost the same, because the Vedanta also says that it was only one in the beginning and then it got differentiated. Then comes the second conclusion, that ultimately the many will go back to the one. The wonderful conclusion, from the one the many came, and unto that one many will return. And this one was established in Upanishads 4,000 years ago. And this profound observation of those ancient seers, now it's being only repeated in modern physical thought. So there is not much difference between them, except one thing, what they have to say about that primordial stuff. What we call it Brahman, that background material, it is Brahman, and according to astrophysics, they say that it is just the singular item of that very dense material. It's not something that we can know. It's mere assumption. The whole universe was condensed into that the piece of material, very highly dense material. It exploded and became this universe. There is no consciousness into it. But according to Vedanta, that primordial stuff, that background stuff, is pure infinite loving consciousness. And from that, the whole universe is evolved. Not from something which is dead matter, because when you see the universe, you see beauty manifested, you see love manifested, you see intellect manifested, you see loving consciousness manifested. It couldn't have come from that dead matter. That's what Vedanta wants to tell the scientists, modern scientists, because nothing comes from nothing and something comes from something. This whole universe is like a lively tree. There has to be some seed there that is pure, infinite, loving consciousness. And that's what Vedanta wants to tell the modern scientist, that it is not It is not dull dead matter, but it is pure infinite consciousness, and from there the whole universe is evolved. And the good news is, some of them are slowly coming to that understanding. They are saying that there is some intelligence there, and when they accept that it is pure intelligence, then again science will be in Vedanta. So back to Vedanta. Vedanta said that it was in the beginning only Brahman, and it got differentiated into different names and forms. What happens immediately after that? Then comes the beautiful statement from Brhadaranyk Upanishad. It says, Sa Esha Pravishta. That pure infinite consciousness, living consciousness, it enters into the universe. What a beautiful language. Like Ras enters in Gulla and becomes Rasgulla. So it has entered, that pure infinite consciousness has entered into all of us. Until and unless that pure infinite consciousness enters into the womb of the mother, the baby is not formed. So it has entered into all of us. And up to what point? It says, Anakagrebhyaha, up to the tip of the nails. See the picturesque language they use to show the all-pervasive nature of that pure infinite loving consciousness. And then it gives us two beautiful illustrations to describe it. It says, Yathakshuraksharadhane vahitasya vishvambharo va vishvambharakulaye. Yathakshuraksharadhane, meaning like a razor lies in a razor box, lies in the hearts of all. And Vishvambharo va Vishvambharakulaya, like fire lies in wood, pervading all of it. It lies in the universe, pervading all of it. And Shankara makes a beautiful, brilliant comment there. He says that means that pure infinite consciousness enters into universe two separate ways. One is Yathakshuraksharadhane vaidasya. Like a razor is kept in the razor box, it enters into the hearts of all. And Vishvambharo va Vishvambharakulaya, meaning like the fire lies in wood, pervading all of it. It enters into every cell of our bodies, every pore of this universe. It has entered everywhere, it's pulsing everywhere. Then the question comes, why can't we see it as it is? And that's because it says that it is not visible for our sensory system. We can see the wood, but we can't see the fire in it. Similarly, we can see the universe, but we can't see the pure infinite consciousness there as it is. Then the question comes, how do you get the complete knowledge of it? And then it says, for that, Atma ityeva upasita. Meditate on Atman alone. Atra yete sarvam ekam bhavati. Here everything gets unified. But then question comes, why Atman and not Brahman itself? That's because Atman is closer to us. It is innermost. And Atman and Brahman are one and the same. We use the word Brahman in the cosmic context, and the word Atman is used in an individual context. But if Brahman is infinite, Atman too is infinite. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. That is infinite, and this is infinite too. When you subtract infinity from infinity, infinity alone remains. And there are no two infinities. Infinity is only one, and therefore Atman and Brahman are one and the same. And Atman is loved the most. We love that, and that is the another reason. The most beautiful reason is that Atman is loved the most, and it explains us through a powerful, beautiful, loving dialogue between husband and wife, Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya had two wives, Maitreyi and Katyayani. Of these two, Maitreyi used to talk about Brahman, and Katyayani used to talk about just the secular affairs. So one day, Yajnavalkya goes to Maitreyi and says, my dear Maitreyi, I have decided to renounce this worldly life, so please allow me to divide our properties in between you two, and then I will start the life of renunciation. But when Maitreyi hears that, she says to herself, is that the only inheritance I am going to get from this great sage? So she asks him, she says, sir, If indeed all the wealth in the world be mine, would I be immortal through that? Katham tena amrutasya. Neki hovachi Yajnavalkya. No, said Yajnavalkya, your life will be just commonplace, like any other persons who have plenty of money. There is no hope of immortality through wealth. Then she says, what am I supposed to do with that which won't make me immortal? My dear Lord, whatever you know about immortality, please let me know. How do you attain to immortality? Prashnena prati prashnena, says the Gita. Questioning is needed for developing knowledge. And here, the wonderful thing is women are asking these questions. Gargi, Maitreyi, and all these women. And of course, Yajnavalkya was much pleased, and he says to his wife, Priyavatare nahastati priyam bhajase. Dear to me, you have always been Maitreyi, and what you are asking is very dear to my heart. He asked her, come, have a seat. Vyakhyasami, nididhyasasva. I'll explain it to you. Meditate upon what I say. And now here comes the most significant statement from Yajnavalkya. He says, Navare patyu kamaya pati priyam bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya pati priyam bhavati. It's not for the sake of the husband, my dear, that he is loved, but for the sake of one's own self that he is loved. And we need to think about this statement. A woman doesn't marry a man just for his well-being or his family's well-being, but for her own well-being, for her own happiness. And the same thing goes with a man. Navare jayaye kamaya jaya priya bhavanti. Atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavanti. It's not for the sake of the wife, my dear, that she is loved, but for the sake of one's own self that she is loved. And he says this one even applies to the children. Normally we think that there is a great big bond between parents and children, but he says, Navare putranam kamaya putra priya bhavanti. Atmanastu kamaya putra priya bhavanti. It's not for the sake of the children, my dear, that they are loved, but for the sake of one's own self that they are loved. And if this is the case of the children, then what to say about Vitta means wealth and other things. He says the same thing about the remaining things. Because Maitreyi had asked about immortality. And the first thing he wanted to teach her was detachment. And all our scriptures, first thing they teach us detachment. And for that, he wanted to create an understanding for the love of the husband, wife, children, and all other objects in the world. Because normally we think that the objects like from husband, wife, children, big houses, cars, and all those are sources of our joy. But he says that the joy comes from within. It comes from our own Atman. And for our own Atman's sake, we love all other objects, husband, wife, and all other objects. But the real love, the primary love is for the Atman, and the secondary love is for these husband, wife, children, all those people, because they are only contributing to the pleasure of the Atman. So, my dear Maitreyi, the reality is that Atman alone is loved, and therefore Atman alone should be realized. And now here comes the greatest teaching of Yajnavalkya. He says, and therefore, my dear Maitreyi, Atmavare drashtavya, shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyasitavya, Maitreyi. Atma alone should be drashtavya, means should be perceived, should be realized. And how? Shrotavya. First, it should be heard of from the scriptures and from realized souls. And why scriptures? Because scriptures are not just intellectual discussions, they are revelations of realized soul. And we are doing the same. We are studying from the great Upanishad, and we are hearing from great sage Yajnavalkya. So the first thing is done. But then comes the harder things. After that you have to, he says, mantavya. You have to think about its meaning. What really does it mean? All these Upanishads and Gita and all that, all the scriptures, really what do they teach us? Does it make sense? Does it really apply to my life? What is my life? Does it make me a good person? All these things you have to think. And what are they really saying? And once you convince your own intellect, then he says that after reflection is most important, he says, and after that he says, Nididhasitavyo Maitreyi. Then these truths should be constantly contemplated upon, silently meditated upon. And if you do that, then he says that Atmanovare darshanena shravanena matya vijnanena idam sarvam viditam. By realizing Atman alone, by following the method of Shravan, Manan and Nididhyas, hearing, reflecting and meditating, all this is known. And ultimately the Atman, which is the divine within, is realized. And then he says that this is the goal of our life, to realize this Atman. Then she says, what happens after that? And he says, Yatha sandavya udake prastha udatam evam anuvilye. Sandavya meaning salt. It comes from the word Sindhu, meaning water, river, ocean. He says, if you put some salt back into water, river, ocean, what happens to it? It becomes one with water. Similarly, my dear Maitreyi, alamba evam vara idam anantam aparam vijnanaganavyo. Similarly, this Atman becomes one with that pure, infinite, loving consciousness. As the veil of ignorance is removed, he says, then this mighty mirage of delusion is removed, and he sees the pure, infinite consciousness everywhere, and that is immortality, that is Amrutatvam, he says. And Maitreyi had asked about Amrutatvam, but he says that Amrutatvam has another dimension. It also means ambrosia, the sweet nectar of divine love. And now here comes the sweetest verse of this Upanishad. And then he says, then Ayam Atma Sarvesham Bhutana Madhu, Astyatmana Sarvani Bhutani Madhu. Then this Atman becomes the sweet nectar of divine bliss to all the beings. And all the beings become the sweet nectar of divine bliss to this Atman. Because of this divine identification, he sees his own Atman extended all over. Even before realizing the Atman alone is loved. Atmanastutamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. But at that time, the Atman was confined to his own personality only. Now he sees his own Atman extended all over, and he loves all. His each word becomes benediction to all. His mere presence becomes blessings to all. My dear Maitreyi, he himself becomes divine. And idam amritam, idam brahma, idam sarvam. This is immortality. This is Brahma. This is everything. I am Atma Brahma Sarvani Bhutu. This Atman, which is the perceiver of all as divine, is Brahman. And he says to her, Iti Anushasana. This is the teaching. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
That was brilliant. I'm sure you have questions.
Yeah, question.
I know I'm not very well versed in Upanishads and all that, but what's the difference between detachment and nirvana? Can we really achieve detachment in this 20th century? We live a busy life, whatever century we are, today's modern world.
So, do you want the difference between detachment and nirvana?
I don't know the difference.
Okay, nirvana means moksha, what we call.
Yeah.
It's salvation, realization. We, like Maitreyi, he's told that he becomes one with the pure infinite consciousness. He sees everywhere pure infinite loving consciousness. That is realization, that is nirvana. Nirvana is also in Buddhism, that means there is no egoism there. I is gone, that is nirvana. And now you are asking about detachment. Some people think detachment is lovelessness. It is not that. It is detachment means it is pure love. There is no I there. There is no selfishness. There is no I there. You are a detached person. That is detachment, and it can be practiced slowly, and it can be done any time in this century also. There is no difference there. What happens? The person becomes kinder, more loving, and he is not attached to the results of whatever he is doing. He is not attached to the results. Whatever he is doing, he is surrendered into God. And that is
Is there a quick way of getting a detachment in this world and still be happy?
You know,
I mean, you have good secrets.
it is.
I mean, do you have how many years to detach? That's what I want to know.
Way to get detachment. You know something? There is a way. There is a way.
Oh, that's what I.
Yes. You know, Patanjali Yoga Darshan, it tells the practices to do that. Yama, Niyam, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Then Vivek Chudamani also had 6 disciplines they tell about. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Diksha, Samadhana, Shraddha. These all the disciplines they have in different scriptures they have told. Those if we read and follow them slowly, it helps a little bit. It is not that fast though. And what is the way? They tell satsanga. If you have satsanga, they teach you, they tell you, and your mind automatically gets more towards the divine. That helps a lot. And the other thing is prayer. Prayer helps. Suppose your divine mother is your, what you call, personal deity, or Shankar Bhagwan. You pray to them that I want pure love for you and I want to get detachment from this world, and that helps to me. That prayer, satsangati, and third thing is reading the scriptures. It helps me. Constantly when you read the scriptures, you are in the sangati, in the sangati of the great people, and you start thinking about it more. And then slowly you get detachment from this world. That's what I feel, that these are the simpler ways for me.
Well, my mind goes around the materialistic things. I get happiness looking at them, I enjoy it. So, I like the knowledge, the hidden knowledge of the Upanishads that I...
No, what Swami Vivekananda says, that enjoying the world is not wrong. You can enjoy the whole thing, but be detached. Don't own it. He says you can go into the museum and look at the beautiful pictures, enjoy it. Only don't try to own it. Enjoying the world, but be detached.
Thank you.
Meditation can do the same thing.
Yes, the meditation is the key. And in the beginning, it's a little hard to meditate, but slowly, you start enjoying it. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so in our one of the well-known Upanishads is the Muktika Upanishad. It lists 108 Upanishads. Out of this, Brhadaranyak is the biggest Upanishad, and we heard a full summary of the entire Brhadaranyak Upanishad in 1 hour. To really thank our speaker.
One second. You know, sorry, it was not the summary of the whole thing. It is just the one topic I took. There are many topics in those that Brhadaranyk Upanishad. And those are beautiful topics that Janaka himself, he asks Yajnavalkya and all that. Very highly spiritual and highly philosophical. There are many topics there. I just took one. And I took this one because it has Gargi and Maitreyi, 2 ladies, and my mother used to like them, and she used to say, you have to become like Gargi and Maitreyi. And I didn't know at that time, but now when I studied the scripture, I loved it, and so I wanted to share it with you. That's all.
Okay, here the announcement.
I don't think I can comment on today's presentation. It is beyond me. And I'm trying to grasp it as much as I could. She has demonstrated today an authentic way of describing most indescribable topics. I entered into this spirituality quite late, and much of what I hear these days is really mind-boggling. She is a thorough lady, it seems. She speaks with so much authority, I cannot even ask questions. I don't know how you do it.
Well,
I cannot even ask questions. There are so many things. My only concern is, usually after the presentation, I ask the speakers to summarize for the benefit of many people who are not here, and also benefit of some of us who are still not able to grasp all of it. But I don't know how that is possible in a presentation like this. Usually people come with a PowerPoint presentation, it is very easy to transmit. But the oral presentation like this is very hard. But still request you, not too much, just a little bit of information that I can grasp. I can grasp.